We got a final from the Grindhouse, and what a game it was. A little more free-wielding than those Zebo days, but in the end, it's still a Memphis W. They now sit at 29-14 following the 116-108 triumph over what at the beginning of the evening was the top seed in the Western Conference. Golden State still 30 wins to their name, but it's almost expected. I mean, Steph goes for 27, 10, and 10, triple-double effort there. Klay goes for 14, a hook shy of his player prop, but good to see him getting meaningful minutes once again down the stretch. But the story in this one, Ja Morant, 29 points and some closing acrobatics to get this one done. Memphis better than Golden State on their home wood. Joining us now with more on the matchup, CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, what a fun watch that was between Golden State and Memphis. 10 in a row right now for Memphis and knocking off one of the top teams in the entire league. We're talking about a Memphis team right now that's a handful of games out of the 1 seed out west. Tell me that 3 years ago, I tell you you're crazy. Where have you seen the biggest strides in this team over that time, and what makes them so dangerous right now?
Yeah, and you're right, Joe. They are. I mean, this is, at least right now, by every measuring stick, a championship contending team. They're top 10 in offensive and defensive rating. They are incredibly deep. They've got young players. They've got those legs. And they have a rising superstar. I think it's just the patience of the young core and the way you have to do it in a market like Memphis. They've drafted really, really well. I'm sure we'll talk about Ja Morant. Desmond Bane's a guy who probably, I mean, it's early, but could certainly be the most improved player. I mean, I can go down the list of that squad. You have long athletic players who move the ball and play defense. And when you do that, and their offense is markedly better this year than last year, and you have those improvements and those leaps and that kind of balance, and a guy like Ja Morant, you've got to be taken seriously, and they've obviously shown that over the course of the last few weeks.
Yeah, you mentioned it's a team full of win-willing defenders. They all kind of play that positionless brand of basketball that really speaks to success in today's day and age. But let's go Ja specific here. You mentioned it, a rising star, and it's sort of that situation of if you look in the mirror every day, you're not going to see a whole lot of difference. But go back to Ja at the beginning of his NBA career and where we find him today. This is a budding superstar. This is a guy who might have the keys to the league not too long from now. He's been so impressive. His game right now, where does he pose the biggest problem for opposing teams? He seems like he can do it all, maybe can develop that shot a little bit more, but what makes him one of the best players in the league right now?
Yeah, Joe, I was watching this game, and as Memphis battled and pulled away, and then the Warriors got close again, as Ja Morant continued to impose his will, especially at the end. That's what superstars do. It started to occur to me, not just how good Memphis is, but that Ja Morant is probably going to win an MVP at some point in his career. He could certainly sharpen the shot a little bit, but his ability to attack the rim and to play downhill. I know he's not a tall guy for the NBA, but we saw at the end of that game 2 critical possessions where he basically got himself to the rim, scored a couple times, I think got to the free throw line in another one of those possessions. His ability at the end of the game, when all the focus is on him, when the best defensive player on that particular team was GP2 a lot in this game, is putting their focus on Ja. He's not daunted, and he can take the mantle of the pressure of that situation, and he can make it happen. We saw him create easy alley-oops and opportunities for his guys. He obviously can move the ball, but the fact that this dude can go out there and get buckets under massive pressure when being double-teamed, it speaks to the fact that I don't think he's a rising superstar anymore. He's an actual superstar. And the guy still needs to work on his three-point shot. He could certainly be better at spreading the floor. But whatever. He's one of the top, 7, 12 players in the game. And he's so young, he's only going to get better.
And that number is only going to get smaller when we talk about where he situates amongst the league's best. And these guys, they really welcome any and all comers, whether it's Desmond Bane getting under LeBron's skin a couple nights ago or the show they put on, as you said, down the stretch here. But taking a look at the Warriors side of things, I know no one's screaming that the sky is falling coming out of this matchup. You have all the emotion of Sunday night with Klay's return. You got to hop a flight east to play this game against a tough team in Memphis. Really just a tailor-made letdown spot, and I don't feel like they let down here. They did go blow for blow with this Memphis team. Speaking of Klay specifically here, right at that 20-minute cap again, 14 points. Here in his first 2 outings, what have you seen that's been impressive out of Klay, or that's made you feel like, okay, we're headed in the right direction with his health and his game?
I think there's two things. There's clearly some rust, and he missed a couple big three-point shots in that fourth quarter, including one from the right side where he was wide open. But I think there's two things that are really encouraging, and you mentioned it, Joe. He's working with that minutes cap. The first is he's not shying away from contact. I mean, there are times where he's getting at the rim, where he's playing defense, and there's the normal contact that's going to happen in an NBA game that a guy coming off 2 years away from the game might shy away from a little bit. So he obviously feels very comfortable physically. And then we've just seen some flashes. There have been some moments defensively and offensively where he just looks like the old Klay Thompson. Not consistently, not at every moment over the course of the small sample size, but the fact that he looks to my eye like he's comfortable physically, and you can see that Klay is still Klay and he's going to be when he gets the rust off, is a really encouraging sign for this Warriors team.
Excited to see these two meet again not too long from now, but it is 10 straight for the Memphis Grizzlies that look to make it 11 on Thursday against the T-Wolves. Bill Reiter, we thank you as always.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.